Duncan fucking Trussell on a Monday morning. Who's better than us?
Thank you for having me, man. It's
Thank
so
you.
cool. This is so wonderful to finally be on your show.
This is the first time you've been at this studio.
Yeah, that's right. Have I been on your show before?
Yeah.
On the phone, but not in studio.
I don't think it's
one at the
studio.
Ice House, not in studio.
Oh, live one at the Ice House.
The night that you sent us when we did the acid, and you sent us the video of,
That's
the
right.
transgender guy.
Yeah.
With Harry, you couldn't tell whether he had a pussy.
I don't think he was transgendered.
I don't know what he was.
He just had a small penis.
He started singing, dancing to
He was just
Mexican
dancing.
music. I sent that to everybody. When I was tripping on acid that night.
I remember it was a great joy to hear you laughing and knowing
my
that I had
God.
sent that to you. It was awesome.
And the only person who got pissed at me to send it to him was Rogan. And I got tons of Christians on there. Rogan was like, "What the fuck is that, man?" How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm doing good.
Congratulations on fatherhood.
Thank you.
I mean, when I had my child, you were the first one at the hospital with a camera.
Yeah.
We went to breakfast.
That's right.
We spoke about the future, and here we are 6 years later, and the seats are reversed.
Unbelievable.
What do you think? When was the child born?
The third.
What do you think?
It's the best.
25 days into fatherhood.
Yeah.
And what are you thinking so far?
It's like I have had more experience with death than birth. So, because I've watched both my parents die, and what's wild about it is it reminds me of this thing I heard: opposites stand back to back. And so there's all these similarities in birth and death it's the complete opposite. So in death, you've got the hospice worker who comes. In birth, you have the midwife. In death, when people are dying, they something else enters the room. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's calming. It's the opposite of what you might think it would be. It's like, it reminds you of something. It's that sense of when you can almost remember a song, but you can't remember it. But it's like, what is this? This is I know what this is, but it's surreal, It's like, there's a thing. Have you ever heard of a Fey light? You ever heard of Fey light?
No.
So when someone's dying, they have a kind of light around them sometimes. I had this guy on who studies death, people who come back, who were brain dead or their heart stopped. And it's a fascinating phenomenon because all over the planet, they all report the same fucking thing. But I had him on.
What do they say when they come back?
So it goes, it's like you the light thing, you see a light, you see yourself, your body, but you look different than the way you look in a mirror because you're seeing yourself for the first time. Because when you look at yourself in the mirror, you're just seeing yourself, a reflection. But in this way, you're you look different apparently than you thought you looked. And then I guess hearing your voice for the first time on a tape recorder. And then also the what's called the life review happens, which is you sort of we think of it in the movies. They usually show it like you're watching a TV or something, and it's you're like Scrooge or some shit watching what you did. But there's more of a sense of not just watching it, but feeling the way you made everyone around you feel. And so you feel the way you made the people around you feel. And there's some justice in there and some sadness in there and some, love in there and joy in there. And you just feel how you impacted the world while you were there. And then universally, this is around the planet, they report this, a fucking monkey comes running out of the darkness and fucks your mouth for 10 minutes. And then that's usually you wake back up in your body. But the monkey thing, they don't talk about a lot. It's really fucking weird. But that's universal.
That would ruin it for me. That would fucking ruin it for me. I just saw
fucked
my
in the mouth
life.
by a monkey?
I just remembered all the highlights of my life that I yearned to see.
Yeah.
There was a movie that was released in the 70s called Beyond and Back. And I've never been able to find it. And it was in the movie theaters. I paid to go see it, about people who had death experiences, came back, and reported what they saw.
Yeah.
I was involved in something when I was a kid where I wasn't in the room, but I was tight with the brother and the mom and the whole family. She had a brain tumor. And that night she went into a coma or something like that. In the middle of the night she snapped out of the coma and said, "Open the window. My grandfather wants me to go." She was tight with her grandfather. And they were like, "What are you saying?" And she's like, "Just open the window. My grandpa wants me to go." Blah, 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 blah. And then She ended up living. She doesn't remember. I asked her years later. We had grown up together, and I go, when you went under, where did you go? And she goes, it was just warm.
Yeah.
She goes, I just felt warm. So I've always believed, you were saying that would across the street from a funeral parlor.
That's right.
And I was like, I've always lived close to something to do with a funeral. I've always had death around me, and it's very sad. But it's death and birth are very similar.
Yeah.
And you do feel, I've been in a room for 2 births, and I've been in one room when somebody was dead. I found them dead. And then I've been to tons of funerals. That's why I don't go to wakes, because of that feeling.
Right.
But even at a wake, there's a sense of warmth in the room.
Yeah. That's right.
Even at a wake, how sad and morbid it is, there is a sense of warmth.
Yeah. Beyond warmth. I mean, it's we're just figuring things out here, as a species. We're just figuring things out. And one of the qualities of being a human these days is you just sort of naturally think we figured everything out. Like it's a thing. You just think, oh yeah, no, we know now that this or that. But we don't know anything, man. Like we don't know anything. I just had this crow researcher on my podcast. She discovered that crows are necrophiliacs. Crows fuck the corpses of dead crows. They just found that out. They didn't know that. 5% of crows, if a crow's around a dead body, 5% of crows will fuck it. And then another crow will land on the crow and fuck the crow. They just found that out. That's new data. But I was asking her other stuff. she's studying birds and there's so much we just have no idea about birds.
Do animals fear death, do you think?
Well, the crows have funerals for when a crow encounters a dead crow, it calls other crows into the area. So all these other crows land around the dead crow and they react to it in a very specific way. Elephants, when they find bones, they lift them up and seem to have some connection with them. So there's a few animals besides humans who sort of react to death with some sense of realizing that this is sad, this is mournful, this is there's something in it that's poignant but man, we think, so we don't know. Death is the great unknown, big question mark. We have no fucking idea what it is. Some people think nothingness, absolute oblivion, you're gone forever.
I don't believe that.
Well, I think I don't either, but I think
it would be a fucking hilarious if it is the truth. But something that I've lived through as a 56-year-old man tells me there's something out there.
Oh, yeah.
There's people who look over us. There's angels. There's something.
For sure.
There's something.
We're going in like fucking Marines. You understand me?
Welcome to church, motherfucker.